Nathan was always going to be better as a software engineer than a soldier, but it makes some sense that Eden would do the man's job by being a soldier in his place. Is that why you wanted me to talk a bit more about her? So you could psychoanalyze her?
Oh,
No, I was genuine before. I just wanted to know more about her. Sorry, I'm not making this very romantic, am I? I'm not very good at this. That's alright. Like I said earlier, you and I have been friends for a long time, but you act so oafish around me all the time. I'd like getting these genuine glimpses into your personality every now and then. I can't think of a better way to spend my night than with Carla Vaughn. Mask off, psychoanalyzing everyone she can't think of because that's what makes her happy. You sap. What was that for? You know what? I have no idea. You said something sappy and like soap opera romantic, and my first reaction was to slap you in the arm. I should apologize before I forget. So, sorry for punching you. You think it's going to leave a bruise. I mean, maybe. You hit pretty hard when you want to. Probably all these cut muscles from lugging around this codex everywhere I go.
hmm.
You know how, when kids see something cute, like a teddy bear, you might see them hugging it really, really tightly. We're talking about kids now. Shut up. I'm going somewhere with this. The urge that humans get to cuddle something cute, perhaps a little too much, comes from the same part of the brain as aggression. I don't know, maybe that's why I get this sudden urge to sock you one. You were being too cute, and I needed an outlet for all that pent up fury. The lesson I'm taking away from this is I should be as ugly as I can be at all times.
You know, it's funny. That's not the right word, but I can't think of a better one. Thousands of years ago, poets from Earth would talk about things like how the light of Earth's moon would pale in beauty to that of their partners, or some rubbish.
You sure know how to open a romantic thought, Carla.
I told you before I'm not very good at it. Anyway, I was just wondering what they would think if they knew that humanity has come as far as it has. I mean, we're over a billion kilometers from the Earth right now, and here we are looking up at Saturn. Not even another moon, an entire planet. Do you think they'd be able to put the same kind of words to paper? Or parchment, I guess?
Why don't you give it a try? Right now.
What do you mean?
Why don't you try putting it to words? Come up with some rubbish about how pretty Saturn is, but how it's not as pretty as me.
Shut up already.
No, I'm serious. You're hung up about having a hard time with being romantic. This would be the perfect exercise for you.
I can't. I'd mess it up somehow.
Just go for it. Say any foolish thing that comes to mind. We've been friends for so long now. It's not like I'm going to judge you for it or something.
I. Come on, Ezra. You're asking me to compare what I think of you to the visual appearance of an entire celestial body. How is that even remotely fair? Saturn's only visible in the night sky every so often. But even if I were to really sit down and put some thought into it, I'd totally blank the next time I saw you in its light like this.
Wow.
Wow, what?
Just, well, maybe you have a better talent for this than you thought, is all. It all almost seemed too good to be okay, and that's the I didn't even know it. Get Carla to admit her feelings. So the only thing we have left now is to explore the ESOL route, which we haven't touched at all. So we're just going to go back to the title. We're just going to straight up do new game, I think.
At 7 a.m. UTC. In fact,
Is that cheers? Hey, thanks.
Don't go. Esau, I study war rations and nutrition. Ah.
Hey there. Oh, really? Nikita Klein. Oh, really? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
Carla Von.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's right.
you think so?
That's right.
Hey. You think so?
Languages.
Hey.
That's right. What? Languages. That's right. What? That's right.
Okay, so that long pause right here, when it sort of forces us to not be able to do anything, and that long pause before it blacks out, that's probably the difference between the chapters, right? Kind of feels like the difference between the chapters. Now, if history has anything to go by from what we've learned about the game so far, there are two different achievements, each one for each soul, right here, depending on which one we go with. Her day one has a achievement, her day two has a separate achievement, so we'll probably need both. Isol seems pretty down to earth, or down to gi as it were. I don't know if she has it figured out any more than the rest of us, but she gets that it's not a race, and that we'll get where we're going eventually. Maybe I could use some more of that stability in my life.
Ah. Hello, Ezra. It's not 16 hours later, and you're already calling in. I like that. No waiting 3 days nonsense.
Good morning, Isol. How are you doing today? Good. At greater than good. When I woke today, it was as though the tension and worries had disintegrated within. It was like I was recreated. Wow, you too? I got the same feeling, like I was starting over from the beginning. I felt like I had slept better than I ever had in my life. The last 13 years had really taken a toll on us all, and I think we're only starting to catch up to the idea that this is the new normal now, that this is what we should feel like every morning.
That's right.
I would quite like that a lot. Now that I know what a real start to the day is like, I don't think I can return to where we were. Where do you go? Where do you get the relaxation? I get the rear on the skull and the soles on the claws. Earthlings don't own claws, right? I I get all of my unwinding in my shoulders and upper back. I woke up this morning thinking, wow, I didn't know my shoulders were supposed to feel like this. And the closest we have to claws is fingernails and toenails, which are dull and more protective than they are sharp.
Ah,
Consider the knowledge attained. So, how can I assist you, Ezra? I take it this isn't a social call. I mean, it kinda is, yeah. I was thinking, now that school is out, and who knows for how long, and now that our future has notably fewer responsibilities, do you want to hang out? Just go somewhere and futz around for a little while. I don't think saying we own less duties now is entirely accurate, and were it, I doubt it would stay that way long, which is all the reason I would need to agree. We ought to enjoy our dutyless days while they last. That's the spirit. Did you have any ideas on what you wanted to do or where you wanted to go? Yes, there is one location. Do you recall last night you said that we own a star seeker here in the city? A what? Right, an observatory. Yeah, I remember saying that. Yes, that. I'd like to go see that. Once you had said it, I realized I hadn't seen the star seeker either.
that's right.
You had asked where I had any ideas on what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go. I decided that that is the answer. I certainly can't fault the woman for knowing what it is she wants. Better than us humming and hawing over what to do, I guess. Sure, that sounds good to me. Do you want to meet me there, or? I just said I hadn't seen it. You know what? That's fair. The university is a bit of a detour for me, but I can meet you there and we'll double back to the observatory if you would like. Yes, I would like that. I can get there in 1/3 an hour. 20 minutes, got it. Talking with Gians is always a unique challenge, but them hanging up so abruptly is a thing I don't think I'll ever get used to. Well, alright, that settles that then. I have 20 minutes to get from here to where I'm going, which isn't a lot of time. I had better get moving then. It was a bit of a hike from the university to here, Isol. Do you need a rest? I know GMP aren't really meant for long walks like that.
Hmm.
They create shoes that allow treks like that one in coziness. The real concern with Gian luxury is in how cold you Earthlings enjoy your settings. E is a hot world. I reside in Galilee all year, and it's insanity that Earthlings succeed in colds this intense. It's 22 degrees Celsius. That's room temperature.
Ah,
Area heat on Gi is twice as hot. Wow, that kind of heat would kill a human in a few hours. And Gians can endure these colds, although not contentedly. I guess Gians are just sturdier than Earthlings. Well, if this is a competition, then on Earth there are people that live at the North and South Poles, where the temperatures are the coldest. At the South Pole, the warmest day of the year averages to about minus 26. That doesn't constitute sturdiness. An Earthling would willingly endure that. Just concludes that Earthlings need assistance. Good thing we Kians landed on Earth when we did. Anyway, yes, anyway. Here we are, just like you asked. You've never been to an observatory before, right? Technically, what I said was I had yet to see this Star Seeker. I had seen Star Seekers on Gee, although that was also around 18 years ago now. It's nice to see the distinctions on Earthling technology and Gian technology on stargazing. Whose would you say is better? We landed here 8 new nights ago, Ezra. It'll take longer than that to list the distinctions. 8 new nights. That's 4 minutes, right? Closer to 3, I think. One thing I can say is that Gian Starseekers weren't usually so direct with the data collected. Usually, when you wanted to know the stars the seeker was seeing, you had to ask the scientist running it, or you would just look and see on your own. Earthling star seekers, though, the data on show is, well, it's a lot. It was the Gians that first made contact with Earth. You would think that they would be more upfront with the sort of information that an observatory would be collecting and not be so secretive about it. It's likely that the Starseeker I stayed at on Key was only underrolled, should you understand. I don't think I do. It lacked the regulatory attention, the coins, the cash. It lacked the cash to generously hand out the data like this one can. You're saying it was underfunded. Yes, thank you.
Languages.
Well, I'm an Earthling myself, and believe me when I say that's not a picnic for us either. Our most popular language is some gross Frankenstein-esque smash of words stolen from other languages. A Rankin what? A Frankenstein. That's what you mean when you're referring to something that was created when you mix a bunch of other things together to create something that looks vaguely like what all the other pieces started with, but not. Where did this word originate? I'm not sure now that I think about it. I want to say it started as a pop culture thing back in the 20th century. But I haven't seen or heard anything about whatever a Frankenstein is since I was born. Maybe it's just one of those things where words that were invented in popular culture are adapted into normal speech, and their origins are forgotten over time.
Ah.
Gian languages share that trait. There's a word in our largest language that originated in our own artistic cultures. The word is Gorulin, and it denotes when a creature, like a Gian, let's say, struggles to create a sentence, usually when they're arguing. As an illustration, let's start arguing. What? Just say anything, challenging. A thing I wouldn't like. You're smelly.
What?
What? That's not you. Why would you say like that? That's what a go-ru then illustration is. If I ever get into an argument with a Gian and I can't think of what to say, I'm sure that'll come in handy. Say, Isol, why did you come to Aerodrome Galilei in the first place? We're awfully far away from Gee, and we're kind of a detour away from Earth. I had gone to Earth too, as you Earthlings would say, widen the horizons. I was staying on leisure. Gee and Earth are good allies and were during the last 300-ish years, so I wanted to see what the noise was all concerning.
Ah.
Your world is gorgeous, Ezra. Gee is largely desert and rocks, and each oasis is a treasured resource that we work to shelter each generation. Earth was so green and azure, and cold, yet that's a thing that Nigiana would tolerate, including yours truly. It's funny. I'm a human, an earthling, but I've never been to Earth. I was born and raised here in Aerodrome Galilei. I have no idea what it's like down there. I would wish that you go there when you can. Touring is a way to change a creature. Going to a whole other world can change your own clarity on existence. You'll turn into an alternate Ezra once you're done. I ran to Galilee when the Euclid landed on Earth 13 years ago. I was included with the initial rescues, the starting creatures that got away. You're a refugee. I was what you would call a tourist, and then I was sent here where it was considered sheltered. I think on that day occasionally. We all recall where we were when it started. I was lucky to get to Earth at all initially. Then the Wrigley landed, not what anyone would call lucky. And then I was with the starting rescues to get away to land elsewhere. And then I was told I couldn't retreat to Gi once I got here, and that I needed to start readying to join the war struggle. To shield a world that I was only holidaying on. I like to think that it all rounds out and I just own standardized luck in the end. I'm sorry to bring up such a difficult memory. That must have been horrifying to live through. Sure, yeah, it was also 13 years ago now. I like to think I got through it now. Galilee dodged the Ricklet's ire, and now they're gone altogether. This isn't the occasion to dwell on our dour history. We should look onward. That's an enviable personality and strength of character to have, Esol. You've been through a lot in the last 13 years.
That's right.
Yes, well, like I just said, although I enjoy the accolade, I'd rather we not hang on the last 13 years as history and concentrate instead on what ensues next. Right. Let's talk on you, Ezra. I would guess that it's too early in the day that the Starseeker isn't used to anyone. Yeah, let's just say, on discussion's sake, that it is. The entire galaxy is unrestricted to your sight. What would you use it on? Where would you look? That's not a bad question to ask. Nikita and I visited this observatory yesterday, and we learned that Earth will be visible Friday night. As a thing I could look at, I'm told that the Earth has some weird effect on people when they see it from a distance. But I could also just stare at the stars, point the telescope in some direction, and have a look, see what I find. Moving the lens even a quarter of a millimeter would point me in a direction that likely nobody else has ever seen before. Or maybe I could try looking for Gi. A soul made the trip from Gi to Earth, and this observatory is probably strong enough to at least see Gi's star. I have a few options available to me. Search for Gi and its star. They probably have the coordinates written down to make it easier. Maybe this is a little weird, but I sort of get the impression that I'll have other opportunities to see Earth again, and not just by a picture or a video feed or something. I mean, it's always going to be there. I can go see it whenever I want. And since you aren't taking the last 13 years as seriously as you ought to, Ezra, whether war was always going to exist was a highly contentious idea during the war. That's accurate, but I don't know. Maybe it's the last 3 days of rowdy celebrating that's gotten me feeling all loose and relaxed about things lasting forever now. And the selfish concept of I'll just do it tomorrow has been something of a lasting attitude all throughout humanity's history, to be fair. You can't tell me that Gans don't know the meaning of the words lazy or procrastinate. No, we do. Although the distinction is that we're cooling down on a war that nearly destroyed your world. I would think that an occasion like that would kick you in the rear to start doing things you always wanted to do. Like seeing the Earth. I think, in that case, the lesson we should be taking away is that everyone is reacting to the good news differently.
Hey now.
Not that on a like, we're on our third straight day on hard carousing. I meant on like an individual basis. Yeah, we're all getting drunk and hooking up with strangers, but besides that, everyone's doing that, but everyone is also doing different things. Look, I haven't even said what it is I planned on doing. Can I at least get that far? Right. Sorry. I know I could nag a little. Don't agree. Don't agree. Don't agree. Don't disagree either. Like I was saying, I feel like there's going to be more than one opportunity to see Earth whenever I want. We Earthlings have a saying about things being in our backyard, and that's what Earth is. Something that's in my backyard, and I can see it whenever I want. But you know what I don't think I'll have many opportunities to see? What's that, Ezra? Gee. Gee and its star.
What?
You would take your chance to search Gee and not literally anywhere else in the ether. Why wouldn't I? Gee and his people are close friends with Earth. Hell, I don't need to look any further to exemplify that than you, Esol. You made the 3-year trip yourself just to vacation there. The least I could do in return is look at it through a telescope. I was just shocked that you'd want to lay your eyes on Yi rather than your own world when awarded the chance. Though that just circles around to what you were saying earlier, doesn't it? On how Earthlings can take unlike tactics to enjoy their rostering. I guess I shouldn't take what you say on Earthling conduct on granted going forward. What, you thought I was lying? I thought you were exaggerating. I won't tell you not to do what you want should you look through the Star Seeker. Although I take it on again that was raised on Key and has seen Earth. Earth is nicer looking. You know, maybe that's another thing about why I don't want to see Earth. It was torn apart after 30 horrifying years of extraterrestrial war. Maybe I subconsciously don't want to see my birthplace all ruined and destroyed like that.
Ah.
That sounds rational. I knew I couldn't look at Guy as easily as were to undergo an ordeal like that. In a satiric way, it's akin to seeing your guardians in a wrecked and hurt way. No one wants to see their Reich or their Kier in a shocking way. Sorry, I'm not as caught up in your language as you are in mine. Our what? It's alright. It's not like you're residing on Gee. You would call your dad your Reich on Gee and its standard language. And you would call your... I know the word I want and yet I can't. Mom. Mother. Yes, that. The likewise word in Gee's standard language is Kier, though I wouldn't think you would know that should I say it. The next time this context comes up, when you need to talk about someone's mom, use the word Doyen. Geans should be able to pronounce that word. Doyen. What is its designation? It usually means a woman that's highly respected and notable in her field. It's not the best substitute for the word mother, but if you were to say your Doyen gave birth to you and raised you, the context would be enough for a person to get by with. Keep in mind though, it's a pretty uncommon word, so you might get asked for its definition. I wish, on each other's sakes, that the word Doyen really outlines a highly regarded lady and not an uncouth thing instead. What, you think I'm lying to you for a giggle? It's occurred earlier. It could occur again, on all I know. Well, it's honestly a pretty common prank. There are stories of people getting words tattooed on their body in a different language, and they're told it means strength or valor or something, when it means like fart sniffer or whatever. Trust it or not, there's an anal locust trick done on Yi and his countless languages. It's good to know that Earthlings and Gians are alike in ways like that. We got a little distracted, didn't we? We were talking about me looking through the telescope. Indeed, although that's hardly a wrong thing to occur, is it? Or an unusual thing? Isol, tell me a bit more about your visit to Earth.
Ah,
Is there anything you'd like to learn in detail? Just no, I'm not after specifics. I just want to know what it's like. Thinking on it now, it feels kind of, I don't know, silly, maybe, that an alien like Ikian has been to Earth and I haven't. I feel like you live in a house I used to live in, and I'm asking about how the house is now, except I never lived in it. That makes any sense. It's okay that it doesn't. I can't say the identity on the continent or the country I stayed at. I went to a location called Spain, and a continent called Southwestern Europe. Spain and Europe, yep, yes. It's always a good thing when I get the enunciations correct adequately that Earthlings can understand. In truth, your Earth's quality is accurately denoted in Galilee. The look, the sensations, the sights and odors. The sky is azure on Earth, just like it is here. The water doesn't taste unusual. You likely know that the grass, the trees here in Galilee, they were all either raised on earthling seeds or are earthling in origin. Galilee attains Earth's essence quite well, at least with what little on Earth I underwent. The distinction, though, is that you don't need air cleansers or generators to endure on Earth. Day and night are not constructed. The weather is not ordained. There is a quality that Earth has that Galilee, with all its technology, can't recreate. That could reconstruct saying here in Galilee ingot on ingot, and there would always exist a thing, an unclear and tenuous thing, that would stay unequal. I can't elucidate on what that thing is, because I don't know how. Gi is alike to Earth than Galilee is in that sense. Sounds like a place I should consider visiting myself then, to find out in person what that thing is missing from Galilee's. They would say that, on returning to Galilee's, you would carry a section on Earth with you. That Earth would stay with you eternally, and that she, a tiny section, would always stay with you. I think the contrast is true. When I stayed on Earth, I think I deserted a section to her. Is that a bad thing? No,
that's
and I
right.
would do it again. It must be 1 o'clock. It's time for that virtual press conference thing. You're going to tune into that. I thought I should, yeah. Why not? No reason. I just wasn't, is all. Well, I figured it was probably going to have some pertinent information on what to expect for things like the next semester or school year, and what we should expect going forward. It couldn't hurt to at least give it a listen. Alright, sure. Let's tune in then. And it won't let us skip it because it's technically we're watching it with somebody different, but the text itself is the same.
Good afternoon. I but there's a real but we can but and thank you all for your time. Enjoy your week.
I'll admit that was more than I was expecting. They definitely gave us more to think about than I was ready for. I was hoping to have some questions answered, but I don't know if that's really what I got. Are we done then? Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, this is a bit awkward. I'm not sure what's gotten her so frazzled all of a sudden. Sorry, I shouldn't drag down the tone in the air like that. Well, I mean, I wasn't expecting that sort of reaction from you. It looked like you were really upset by what that Gen 3 had said. Do you want to talk about
You
it?
know what? Yes, I do.
I may have just made a mistake.
I said earlier that we had dodged the Ricklit's ire, and that we should look onward. This Gen 3, you called it. What it suggests is to the contrary, that we concentrate our attention on yesterday. It occurred then, and it can occur again. That's a resigned, conquered attitude to own. And there's no end to its rage. It occurred yesterday, it occurred last week, it occurred last year. This won't end. I adore Earth. She is all that Gi isn't. Earth and Gi are... they are alike, yet unalike. They are, as one Earthling culture would say it, yin and yang. I adore Earth like I adore Gi. I was willing to work towards Earth's endurance during the Ricklet War. And now, here they are, trying to tell us that it hasn't ended, that it won't end. To wake each day scared, threatened on the threat on another attack. 13 years we existed, trying to succeed against the Ricklet threat. We all earned our chance to grow outside the cage that the Ricklet had constructed around us. And now that we tore the cage down, this android is telling us to stay still on the occasion that the Ricklet return and construct it again.
You seem to be taking this kind of personally.
I journeyed to Earth when I was 10 and 3 and 1. The journey alone was 3 years. I stayed on Earth another one. Then, I was sent here to Galilee 13 years ago. And here I existed since, training to guard a world that I didn't own, that I was only staying on a while. I existed in terror that the Ricklet could locate us, wondering each day whether I would see Gi again, whether I could hold the ones I cherish on Gi again. We don't exist as long as Earthlings do, Ezra. And those assholes waited 3 days to tell us to not rejoice on our collected success. They let us think, they let us enthuse, that we could set it all away and look onward to our new existences. I was thinking on that Gian restaurant that I wanted to run when things settled. I was considering turning it into a grocery store instead, and getting Gian goods to sell to Earthlings, to try and nurture culinary ingenuity with our cultures. And now, they're telling us to cease that. No seeking a greater outlook. No thinking that the worst is done with. There is only looking rearward and counting the days that it all occurs again. So yes, I take this as a direct attack. Yes.
I know I just created an awkward aura, yet what do you think? Don't think that you need to agree. Just say honestly. Well, I didn't put that much thought into it. I initially just tuned in because I thought we were going to learn more about our school schedules. It's entirely likely that I just reacted a little too strongly. That Gen 3 said that nothing it suggested is required, just to consider staying the course. And I considered it. Yes, so you've made abundantly clear. But I don't know. The prospect of what we do with our lives going forward has been hanging over me shortly after the announcement that we had won the war 3 days ago. I don't have a solid answer, and Vance giving me something else to think about hasn't really made things any easier. It sounds to me like you had your future planned out in full the second the words "we won" hit your ears. That's not entirely untrue. I was studying as a nutritionist when the war was called and our success. There's quite a lot I know on cuisines and diets, Earthling and Gian alike. I wanted to use what I knew and had learned to start a trade. You could do likewise, you know. What did you say you studied in? Robotics engineering. We were learning about Gen 3s the very moment the announcement was made. And sure, I had thought about staying in my field and finding some other way to apply what I was learning. Maybe learning consumer robotics, or maybe inventing something new and coasting off royalties for the rest of my life. But I was also weighing the option of,
Ah,
yes, I was considering staying in school and applying myself to military robotics. It's what my focus has been on. After all, consumer robotics and electronics are something of a different beast. It's just that, after that outburst about how badly Isol wants to move on and not worry about the past constantly looming over the present and the future, I'm not so sure she would see things the way I do, at least not as readily. But maybe I'm being selfish about her. She's an opinionated woman, but that doesn't mean she's going to bite my head off for having one that differs from hers. And it's not like me considering staying at school and learning robotics is me confirming that I will. It's tough to say. Having a drunken fling with someone is a really good insight into their personality. I've only known her a total of half a day otherwise. I could try and play up that I'm still not totally certain what it is I had in mind, or, at the risk of her getting more heated than she is, I could be upfront and say that I thought of staying the course. Be honest and say you're still weighing the option of staying where you are. The truth is, Isol, I was thinking of staying in school, doing what Vance said we should do. I spent the last 13 years studying robotics engineering. I'm very, very close to getting my degree. Even if you're right and it's all just fear-mongering, I don't think I should turn away from all that progress that I've been making. Isol is a principled woman. Hopefully she can respect me saying that, even if it goes against her own attitudes and feelings about the situation. I hold certain tenets as a Gian Ezra. I recognize the worth on you saying that, although it goes against the attitudes and theories that I hold. There's really only one alteration in our attitudes, and that's in how we want to use the skills we had acquired during the war. We don't want that era in our existences to languish. We want to use what we had learned. It's just the skills I learned I don't want to use in war. I don't want to create ready-to-eat collations loaded with nutrients yet with no taste. Or, worse, dire taste. I want to use the skills and connections I learned to wed Earthling and Gian cuisine. Whereas I don't have that same sort of inhibition. I just want to make robots. At least, I don't think I care.
that's right.
As soon as you attain the authority to sway whole worlds into how they should think, and you use it to dictate that they should always grant the terrors that yesterday has caused us as we look to the next day, then yes, I would judge you in how you use that authority. Until then, you're in early 20s such like that's looking to a new day, and you aren't sure what to think on that. You're analyzing your choices and trying to consider what the greatest result is. We all are. There are again dishes that require techniques to create. We should work together. You create an android, and I'll tell you how to train it to create the dishes I want. What do you say? I think robot chefs isn't a new idea, and I think it failed every single time it was attempted. A few years after the war started and my mom was sent to do a tour on the moon, I would sometimes try going to a cafeteria that replaced the cooks with Gen 1s, and every single time, the food, well, was food. Every time I went back, I would think that maybe it wouldn't be so bland or ugly or taste funny like it did last time, and every single time, I would be wrong.
What?
Your Doyen is a soldier. This is news I hadn't heard yet. I also don't really make a big deal about it if I can. It's tough to think about one of your parents being actively involved in a war effort. Then you should rejoice, right? The war has ended. She'll return soon. A real war hero. Yeah, soon. I don't know when, but it's usually only about a day's trip from here to Earth. Once she's done with whatever duties she has left over, she should be here before the week's out. But, yeah, that would be why I never really put much effort into daydreaming about life after the war. I was too determined to make sure it ended first. That creates a new outlook on your situation that I hadn't realized.
Hey now.
Or that I had cherished ones in the war. There's a good chance I would take an altered outlook on things too. Isol, yes. Have you put any thought into, like, your long-term goals now that the war is over? I don't think I understand the question. I thought the whole starting a restaurant thing was the long stretch goal. I meant after that, if that makes any sense. I still don't understand. Why would I want to strategize longer than that? What, so you plan on being a chef for the rest of your life? Until you're old and whatever the Gian equivalent of gray is? Yes, do I need to strategize any longer than that? Let's try a different question. Do you know what the word retirement means? Kinda. The designation is that you don't work to gain wealth any longer, right? That's about the short of it, yeah. What do you plan to do once you retire? Do I need to retire? Well, I would like to ask you a question. Why do you ask? It's just, I'm still trying to figure out what it is I want to do with my life, and I guess I'm just looking for different viewpoints and insights on the matter. The thing, Ezra, is that we aren't identical. Any answer I grant you would likely relate to you and your own situations. Sure, that's true, and I don't know how interested I would be in sticking with one job and working it forever until I'm old and frail. What else do Earthlings do when they retire? The idea is that you spend your last days relaxing and not having to worry about things like loading, or schedules, or labor. When you retire, that's when you tell the world that you've put in your time, and now you just want to live for yourself from then on. That sounds like a child's attitude. Well, I guess it's not so far off the mark. When you're a kid, you don't have responsibilities. Retiring means you've done all your responsibilities, and you don't have any more, and now you just want to live a quiet life. The fact that you can't even consider a future where you don't work at your restaurant for the rest of your life is a pretty alien concept, at least to me. Can you consider the idea that that is what I would consider a quiet existence? The last decade was all stress, all the years. I'd like to think that we all did a whole existence's worth of duty since the war start. I would think running a restaurant is relaxing, at least in relation to that. So you don't ever plan on retiring?
That's right.
As long as I can tell, I retired 3 days ago. Am I overthinking this? I wanted to get some insight from Isol on how I should live my life, at least in the long term. Now that the war is over, and, well, while it was a bit of a roundabout route, we eventually got to her answer. She wants to live for herself, right now, in the moment, doing the thing that she's always wanted to do: cook canned foods for Earthlings and bring her culture to us. On the surface, it feels like a non answer, but maybe she has the right of it. Maybe I still haven't really adjusted to the free life, and I don't know how to uncouple from the stress that came with the last 13 years. I don't have a fantasy to live out like she does. I don't have to do anything or answer to anyone. My life is what I choose to make it now. There's nobody I have to answer to now but myself. Oh, there's the third option: retire early and live for yourself. Thanks, Isol. Never worked a day in her life. Learn what it is that Isol intends to do with her life now that the war is over. Thanks, Isol. I think I needed that change in perspective. What did I say that had insight? I think it was less what you said and more just being yourself. The attitude that you have with approaching a problem like retirement, or lack thereof in your case. I didn't realize that was an issue that I was working through. I just answered honestly. Yet, all the likewise, it's good that I could assist. Yeah, it's pretty good that you're here with me. It's getting a little late. Did we totally forget that we're in an observatory, or is it that just me? I hadn't ignored our setting. It's just that, like we said earlier, the talking issues can wander rather easily, were we to let it. Now that you say it, though, I wonder, is it that you wonder if you can see the Earth through that big telescope? Yes, I was thinking just that. Good guess. Well, I knew a thing, and I was hoping I'd get a contact so I could tell you the thing I knew. Yeah, I guess it was lucky. Anyway, I was here with Carla just yesterday, and we were wondering the same thing. It turns out that Saturn is currently between us and the Earth, but it will be visible through the telescopes coming Friday to the evening.
What?
So soon, I'll consider clearing the schedule to see it then. Is it full up tomorrow? No, there's nothing on it at all.
That's right. That's right.
One sweetener to this new serenity that we had earned our success against the red lid. Right? It's only been 3 days and all, and it's going to take longer than that to get used to this concept of not having anything to do or worry about. And I would like it to stay that way. I enjoyed our outing together, Ezra. It was nice to see an Earthling Starseeker with you. Yeah, you too, Isol. Are we done here, though? Did I neglect to say? I couldn't stay all day. There's a discussion with the nutritionist class and students on what cargo is reaching Galilee in the next few days, and what we should do to get ready. You can attend too, should you like. Yet it's assuredly uninteresting. I hardly want to attend. Yeah, I'll pass this time. I thought so. Thank you on today, Ezra. We should do it again later. I enjoy your aura. Weird way to phrase it, but yeah, I enjoy your company too. I'll give you a message later, alright? I'll train an eye on it.
Said, Mommy.
You mean Isol? Yeah, she does seem like a mommy type, doesn't she? She is a very beautiful lady. Welcome on in, Random Mark. I'm glad you enjoy the pretty things. Isol is a pretty lady. Well, as much fun as it is to stargaze by myself, I'm suddenly feeling awfully isolated. I should head home. The rest of my own day is pretty open. Maybe there's something I can do to keep me occupied. Or maybe someone else is willing to hang out. Okay. So this is the one we've already seen. It's probably only going to be the 2, right? Okay, so that means there's probably another achievement for doing the afternoon with Isol. So Let's go back to here. We'll just quickly go through Carla's, I guess. Don't have anyone, since we've already seen Carla's first day.
Hey.
That doesn't really matter too much.
What do you think? You think so? Thanks. Off I go!
Okay, now let's see what Isol's afternoon event is. Isol seems pretty level-headed. I don't know if she's got it figured out more than the rest of us, but she's definitely got the kind of attitude that we could all use more of in our life. Once we all calm down from the partying, anyway.
Good day. This is Esau. Oh, Ezra. This is wondrous. To what do I owe the delight?
Isol, how's it going? It's going in a sense. Yeah, busy day so far. No, quite the contrary. Today's rather drowsy. I know that Earthlings own the saying that occasion stash from your retaining joy. What's the contrary to that? Occasion stash retaining. Time flies when you're having fun. I don't think we have an antonym for that expression. Time stops when you're bored. Well, you know what it is that I denote. Is there anything I can assist you with, Ezra? Do I need a reason to call you Esau? What if I just wanted to talk? It's not like either of us are terribly busy. Are you trying to dally, Ezra? What? Dally? You know, where you say light-hearted nothings to try and entice the one you're talking with to like you. Flirt? I guess half and half. Although if you were asking me, I guess I must be failing. Gains handle the will they or won't they issue a little unlike Earthlings is all. Well, before I make things any more awkward
Stream
between us,
elements.
I was wondering if
Set.
you were available to go
Stay
somewhere
moist,
this
my friends.
afternoon.
Hydrate.
So you were. This was all a lead-in to that. Yep, the cat's out of the bag now. At daylight, the day was nothing yet house chores and student accounting. Then, at lunch, I had a session on culinary outside across Earth to Gallifrey. Sounds important. It's all dull. Dreary, drowsy, dishearteningly dull. I could really rather use the distraction in the day, and you calling at this hour is a lucky reward on sticking it out until now. What I could really use right now is an excuse to get out and stretch. The day started at 8 o'clock and it's one cheer to the next, squashing tools to dissertations and listening to Earthlings talk on things that, in light on recent occasions, just aren't essential any longer. In case it wasn't clear, yes, I would enjoy going out today. Anywhere's good, as long as it's not here. Well, if you need an ear to rant at for a little bit, I like to think I'm a pretty good listener.
That's right.
You shouldn't talk so quickly. Ranting is all I own inside the soul right now. Well, if ever there was a time to blow off some steam, it would be now that we finally have peace and the war is over. Where did you want to go? I didn't have any place in particular in mind. Is there anywhere special you would like to go today?
Ah.
Yes. Do you recall that? Oh, so we're still end up at the Star Seekers, I guess. Okay. The observatory. I think I would like to go there today. The Star Seekers' use until now is entirely war related. 3 days is likely not a long duration to switch gears, as it were, though still like to try and see if that residents can enter. That, and I'd like to see how Earthling star seeking technology equates to geese. You asked where I'd like to go today, and I decided that is where we'll go. I certainly can't say that Esau is a woman that doesn't know what she wants, and I think I kind of like that sort of confidence. Sure, that works for me. Do you know the way there? I just said I hadn't gone there yet. Right, that's my bad. The university is a bit of a detour for me, but I can meet you there, if that's easier. Yes, I would like that. I can get there in 1/3 an hour. 20 minutes. Got it. Talking with Gans is always a unique challenge. I'd better get moving then. It was a bit of a hike from the university to here, Esol. Do you need a rest? I know Gideon feet aren't really meant for long walks like that, and it's starting to get late. Some people aren't as comfortable with long walks in the evening like that.
Hmm.
They create shoes that allow treks like that one in coziness. The real concern with Gideon luxury is how cold you Earthlings enjoy your settings. Gi is a hot world. I reside in Galilee all year, and it's insanity that Earthlings succeed in colds this intense. It's 22 degrees Celsius. That's room temperature.
Ah.
Area heat on Gi is twice as hot. That kind of heat would kill a human in a few hours. And Gians can endure these colds, although not contentedly. The South Poles are colder. This is more or less the same as the morning one, interestingly enough.
Hmm.
Earth languages.
Yeah, it's the same conversation, interesting enough. Hmm.
What?
The others had different conversations in the evening, but this one's the same. Well, it's probably going to change once your dad calls. Once your dad calls, it'll change. But
Ah.
Hmm.
That's right.
Hmm.
so I wonder if this one is different, or this one's probably the same too, right? Um, look elsewhere throughout the universe. Who knows what you'll find? You know, the universe is a pretty boundless thing. Really endless. It's the ether. Yeah, it's approximately boundless. Infinity minus one. I could point the telescope in any random direction, and I'd probably be looking at something that no other human or Gian has ever seen before. Sure, I could look at any of the nearby planets, or any of the thousands of stars that we've got notated, and their coordinates written down, but that doesn't seem very adventurous to me. Who knows what I would get if I just spun the dial? The odds are likely that you'll get nothing at all. Like the odds are crushingly likely. Well, okay, Miss Killjoy. Yes, I'm aware that I'll probably find no thing. But, like, what if, though?
Ah.
You know what? You created an ideal case. I can't think on any counter to it at all. Come on, Esol, you asked me for my opinion and I gave it. You don't have to be so sarcastic about it. You know I joke. And doing a thing against your healthier conclusions is how growth is created. It was a risk when Dee sent that intel satellite to Earth to create contact, and a larger risk to reach Earth directly. And don't they characterize well-known asteroids on the ones they initially located? That's true, they do. Imagine if I found a whole new star or planet and they named it after me. And that world has creatures on it. They would eternally wear the title of Ezrans. Imagine if they weren't friendly. Attack of the Ezrans. The Ezrans are attacking. The Ezrans are attacking. That kind of sounds like a B-rate movie. Attack of the Ezrans. Starts Friday. Not suitable for minors. How would we win against antagonists like the Ezrans? You couldn't. If they're named after me, then they probably have other traits taken from myself. And as you already know, I'm completely flawless and perfect. And so shy. Well, you know how it is. I don't need words, and my radiance does enough talking for me. Yeah, anyway, I'm probably going to do that. Pick a dark spot in space and just loiter a little bit around there. Who knows what I'll find? It could be a planet, or a star, or an asteroid. It'll likely be nothing, but it could be something. There's a whole universe to explore. It's not what I would do, yet I can recognize the soul it takes to want to try your luck like that. Well, what would you do? Earth is gorgeous. I could watch it turn all day. Yet, I think this war has taught a lesson in understanding the worth and what you owe, and what you could lose. I've seen these little since the war started. I would like to see it again. Well, in truth, I would like to go there. I want to touch the world's hot sands again. Earth and Gallifrey are wondrous locations, although, as you Earthlings say, there's no location like your residence. Close enough.
That's right.
It's like calling your guardians now in a game. We Gians, or rather in the Gian language I say, we call Gi our Reich, which in your language is akin to Dad. I understand Earthlings share a likewise allegory with Earth, a thing relating to nurturing or calling it a nurturer. We sometimes refer to Earth as Mother Earth or Mother Nature. It's interesting that Gians refer to their planet as the father though and not the mother. It's not so unusual that unalike creatures would conjure unalike narrations on their worlds and their incarnations, I think. Wow, that was a hell of a mouthful, and she just made that up on the spot. I don't think it's so wild that we Gians would consider our world as our dad, and you Earthlings consider Earth as your, I know the word I want, and yet I can't. Mother. Yes, that. The likewise word in Key standard language is Kier. Why wouldn't think you would know that should I say it? I learned recently that Earth will be visible through this telescope starting on Friday, and yet my first impulse wasn't to start making plans to come back during the weekend. We can see the Earth at the week's end, you said. Yeah, I learned that just the other day. I think the forecast to see it is still posted up here somewhere. And now I know, too, I could take the occasion to see it again in that case. Anyway, the more I think about it, it kind of feels, I don't know, silly maybe, that an alien like Ian has been to Earth and I haven't.
That's right. That's right. Earth languages.
Wait, tell me, atta girl.
Holy cow, tomorrow. So soon. What do I do? That's hardly enough time for me to get the place up to scratch by myself, is it? I've been living alone for so long that the house is a pigsty. And shoot, I've been on the phone with Dad for so long that the sun's gone down. Saturn looks pretty good tonight. It's not often we get to see it at this angle, this close up. I bet Esol would love. Esol, where are you?
Ah,
Yes, hello. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Your call with your dad had gone a while, so I took the chance to look through the Star Seeker sites and search the stars. Did you find anything interesting? It's the ether. It's all concurrently exceedingly interesting and horrendously hollow. We can't see the Earth until the next day, and the seeker sites can't see Gi with any clarity, although it could see our star with a little guidance. Not that I could do that either. Although the Star Seeker is unrestricted to society, it's still on alert in case the rig lit bug recur, so we can look through it, although we can't turn it. I guess that's better than nothing. What, is it just staring at nothing right now? At the Bricklit's last known location? It's looking at the sun. Straight onto the sun. You would think staring straight at the lightest thing in the day's sky with a high strength sight was a ghastly idea. Though that's why I study nutrition and not the stars, I guess. What the sights are seeing isn't the issue at hand, though. You were just on a call with your dad. It lasted quite a while. Yeah, big news out of nowhere. My Reich and my Kier are coming home tomorrow.
hmm.
That's cute that you would do that, Ezra. Don't stray there, though. What else did your Reich tell you? Well, not a lot other than that, really. The most relevant piece of news is that, since Mars is currently a little closer to Saturn than the Earth is, my mom, my Kier, will be coming home tomorrow evening, and my Reich will be coming home around noonish. Don't stress, Ezra. Just say Dad
Earth
and
languages.
the other one. Well, in any case, that was all the new info my dad had to give me. The rest of the phone call was just us catching up a bit. My dad's a software engineer based on Mars, and my mom was a soldier that's stationed on the moon, so I never had a lot of opportunities to speak with them when they weren't on leave. It was tough hanging up on him, even when I know he'll be home tomorrow, and we'll have all the time in the world to talk then.
Ah,
Your Kier was a soldier. I understand that's uncharacteristic considering Earthling gender traditions. Mom was never really the trophy wife kind of mom. She can cook 6 dishes. Dad usually did the washing and drying. The one time I had bullying problems in elementary school, my dad was the one to tell me to go to an adult and try and solve the issue diplomatically. My mom taught me, as a last resort, if all else failed, to go for the nose. At last, an earthling with guts and sense. I take it you exercised her teachings. No, because Carla did it for me. Now that I think about it, some of the toughest people in my life have been women. Looks like the standard is set then. I wouldn't want to disillusion you. Don't go picking fights for my sake, please. What's your strategy now? What do you mean? Your guardians are returning soon. This isn't the occasion to starseek. It's not like they'll get here any quicker with your eyes searing holes into their lorries a whole galaxy away.
hmm.
Surely there are other issues that require your attention, right? Well, yeah, I was thinking that a little earlier, but I didn't want to leave you out to dry like that. I was the one that called you and asked you if you wanted to hang out after all. Yes, and then things changed. I enjoy our occasions together, Ezra, yet, in reality, we only encountered each other 2 nights ago. To be fair, we did a little more than encounter each other that night. That's true. To say that our relation only started with a chance greeting is selling it short. That doesn't change what I was going to say, though. Should you rather return to your house to ready it, I would understand entirely. The next day is a large day, and all. Esau, the second you started talking about me standing you up to go home, you haven't looked me in the eye. Tell me the truth. I'm sure you would be okay if I left to go home and start cleaning it or whatever. But is that what you want? Try and locate a girl that would want that, Ezra. Like you said, I got out tonight on your request. What I want and what I would understand as your urgency are two unalike things. What I want and what you need aren't always going to coincide. We're wholly grown adults, you and I. I'll endure one night alone.
That's right.
And that aside, it would connote that you're indebted to another night out later. Look at her. She would be crushed if I left her alone. And even if she wouldn't be, I would be crushed by seeing the expression she would give me when I turned to leave. Dad told me to party, to have fun and socialize. He and Mom fought tooth and nail for the opportunity for me to have fun and enjoy my life. It would be a spit in their face if I took this opportunity that they fought for and used it to go home and do chores. I'm not going to leave her, although now she'll think. The better question is, what do we do tonight? I don't know if Isol strikes me as the kind of lady that enjoys quiet walks in the park. Maybe downtown. That is where we first met, and we were both really drunk at the time, so she might be game for bar hopping. I had better decide. I can only stand here and gawk at her for so long. Maybe you can find more in common with her over your shared love for a drink. I can see that the sun has gone down already.
Ah,
It had gone down a short while ago, yes. Which means I must have been on that call for a hot minute. What is the delineation on that saying? This isn't the initial instance that I heard an earthling say it. What controls whether any second is hotter than any other? It's just a saying. Earth languages, especially English, are full of them. We find a sentence that's funny, or profound, or just rolls off the tongue, and we add it to our lexicon. And that one in particular is awkward because it has two different meanings that are completely opposite. It can be very recently, or depending on who you ask, it can mean a long time ago. And if you think that saying is weird, wait until you hear the phrase, it's raining cats and dogs. I thought the saying was, Hallelujah, it's raining in. I'm pretty sure that's a song. I'm not caught up on my classical music. Look, we're getting sidetracked. It's nighttime. That's an astute thought. The point is, I've been on the phone for a lot longer than I thought I was, and now my throat is all scratchy and worn down. I could use a drink, and I could use a drinking buddy.
hey now.
Really? Weren't you just going on with needing to return to your house so you can get it ready? Your guardians are returning in around 16 hours. Sure, but my dad gave me a direct order to get out there and enjoy the freedom that he and Mom had thought to give you and me. He didn't spend all those years on Mars getting bombed by Ricklid just for me to stay at home and sweep the floors when we finally won. Is that really what he said? Well, paraphrase, but yes. I think I understand what he was talking about too. Like, yeah, I'm excited to see my parents again, and I want them to come home to a nice house. They've been fighting an interstellar war for the past 13 years. They deserve to come home and kick up their feet. But on the other hand, it's been 3 days. Well, 2 days and 3 nights, and everyone's still celebrating. I don't want to be the one to pack it in early when there's still revelry to be had. That, and I doubt I would hear the end of it if I told him I stood up a pretty can just so I could go home and vacuum. Before he hung up, he even mentioned that he was going to get drunk with his coworkers one last time, too. And hell, if my old man is out there getting blasted, I'm not going to let him show me up. Can't let yourself get drunk under the counter against your dad. That attitude is really endearing, Ezra. It's one thing to show your guardians high regard, it's another to treat your guardians as cohorts. It's easy to see your adoration. Yeah, I would say my parents and I are pretty close. Are we going to go get drunk, or what?
That's right.
Lead the way. Before we do, did you learn everything that you came here to learn about human observatories? I know it feels like we only just got here. That call with your dad lasted longer than you think. Clearly, we got here when the sun was still in the sky. That said, you're clearly not, how do I say this delicately, used to socializing yet, I take it. What makes you say that? I was hardly interested in the Star Seeker, Ezra. I was interested in staying with you a while. Well, I wasn't not interested in the Star Seeker. You know what I say. Right, that's... Yeah, I guess I need to work on reading people a little better. Let's get going already. Alright, no need to shove. It's just as busy as the night of the Victory. It's crazy how rowdy people still are. Do you usually drink here? I wouldn't say usually, no. Before 3 nights ago, I wasn't much of a drinker at all. But then again, I don't think anyone was. This bar was just the first one that Carla and I went to, is all. I wondered whether you'll think the alcohol tastes greater now that we're here. Why? Because I have such good company. I won't tell Carla you said that. She would probably laugh and get me with a worse singer sometime down the line anyway. I ask since you said this was the original saloon you started with during the rejoicing 3 nights ago. I was just wondering whether the good recollections would enhance the tastes. You know, I think that's a real thing about how positive or negative conditioning could change how a person responds to certain stimuli. I was in this bar, everyone was celebrating and having a good time. I was enjoying myself too much to notice if the beer even tasted bad. And now, maybe a beer that tastes bad in my house would taste better here. Or something. This is really more Carla's spiel. There's a chance I'm just spouting a bunch of alternative nonsense. Would Carla enjoy hearing you say that as well? She already knows that I'm a dang fool. No change there. So, Ezra, what is your go-to drink? Let's go to 3 nights ago. You were told just an hour or two ago that the war was won and the wicked are gone. You go to your house or your desired saloon, and you order a rum and grit. We're likewise in that case. Alcohol and glittery drinks go together since alcohol and sugary, glittery drinks were created. There are greater tasting drinks, sure, although there is nothing as unreasonably delighting as a good grog and grit. That's a lot of flowery language for a rum and grit. It's just a good drink, is all. Let's try again. You retired to your house late at night. The day was long and hard. You had realized each task and chore you had set out to do, and you were just told on your codex that you were getting a raise. You head to your cellar, or where else you hide your alcohol. and you withdraw a rum and grit. You're no joy. I mean, it's my honest answer. Lie then. I never got a taste for wine. I could probably mix some bougie vodka with some fruit I juiced myself. Then you run the risk on introducing tissue to the drink. Tissue? You mean fruit pulp. Here I am trying to give you a better fantasy for what I would drink, and the first thing you do is introduce realism into it. If that's what you wanted, we would stick with the rum and grit.
That's right.
Here's the thing, Ezra. Your illusionary scenarios are wrong. You aren't doing it right. I need to teach you how to create good or sad situations so you can correctly want to attain it. I think that's the first time I've ever been told that I have a bad imagination. All because I suggested I squeeze my own oranges to drink a drink I would normally drink anyway. Fine then, Esol. What would you drink? Same scenario. Hard day's work, just came home, you're getting a raise, yada yada. A grog and grit. Shut up. I saw a chance and took it. It was a good joke, Ezra. Don't you try and say it wasn't. I'll admit that I walked straight into it, sure. I'll take it. Anyway, the answer changes on whether there's anyone to share the hour. Were I alone, I would enjoy a glass with white wine. Just one, though. A glass with a good Riesling that I would like to hold on to just such an occasion. Given that the Rickland War ended only 3 nights ago, you must still by that bottle of wine. Either that or you've chugged through the whole thing by now. Yeah. Were I not alone, I would get out the stronger wines. The red ones, the traditional wine that your earthlings bring to your, let's say, trying to rejoice throughout the night. Yes, the drink of choice for the ladies looking to get some. Throw on some black underwear and you'll make it as obvious as can be to anyone with hot blood. No offense. And the red wine, yes, although the dark underwear is a new one. Do earthlings wear dark underwear when they're looking? I don't know. I'm not a woman. Although, and keep this between us, but I can usually tell when Carla is wearing black underwear, and I'm pretty sure she wants me to not ice. I've never brought it up in conversation or anything, but she usually acts a little differently around me whenever she's wearing a matching black set. A little more outgoing, if you can believe it.
That's right.
Hardly. The girl is hard to track as she is now. Right? Even on a cold day, she's a bit of a firebrand. But when she's wearing black underwear, she gets even chummier than usual. It can sometimes get to the point where she lets us wraps ride high on her waist when we're out in public. Well, that would take out the challenge. I'm wondering whether she's wearing it or not. Well, now I know what color underwear to wear when I want attention. That said, though, you know what other earthling sex attraction idea I would like to test out? As a resident earthling, I may be able to help you out. What do you want to test? A thing that I heard not long ago concerning alcoholic goggles. The idea that drink can increase a character's sexual attraction, and the harder you go into the drink, the greater the result. There's only one way to test this. Salooner, 2 grogs, and grit. If we came all the way here for a drink, I guess we probably should start drinking. You know what's hard? What's hard, Esol? Earthlings don't die like Gians do. You're likely going to exist in the next century with how current linctuses are going. As a Gian, it's insane to think a creature could exist longer than 80 years. Gians generally don't go longer than that. And here you are, the ideal creature clearly, and you're going to exist twice as long as we do. This got existential in a hurry. Am I too drunk to handle this? Am I not sober enough to handle this? You alright? Maybe you should cut back on the booze for a bit. Why? Well, I just figured Maybe talking about our natural lifespans is something we ought to save for when we're not a sheep to the wind, trying to celebrate our victory over the wicked. Is there a greater setting to talk on it? Were we to take the talk to, say, a house, the excuse would change to, I just want to relax and not talk on it. Death is a constant in the world, and there's no use in shying away on it, I think. Earthling's only saying on it, too. The only constants in existence are death and taxes. Greater to talk on the issue when alcohol grants us the courage to say what we really think. I say, I'm not drunk enough to agree. People tend to get pretty stupid when you give them booze. But you sound like you want to get it off your chest, and alcohol is good at helping you speak from the heart, so let's hear it then, Esau. When do you think I was hatched? Is that a trick question? Because I know Gians have that weird ovoviviparity thing going on.
Languages.
I can't say the right word in your language, Ezra. We're asking when you were born. Well, like you said, Giants age a little differently from humans, so from the look of you, maybe 20 years ago or so, give or take a few years. That's sweet on you to suggest. 31. Wow, you're looking good. And Hatch Day is soon. You know that I was a tourist on Earth when the war started. The Gian residents on Earth, let alone Galilee, unearthling territory, are scarce. I can reason that I own another 30 and 10 years in existence. Or to say it another way, the existence I own is greater than a third none. And yet I retain no equal with the age I own. 31 is exceedingly late with Ian's to stay single, and yet here we are, getting drunk and then getting into three-ways with strangers. It's hard not to think that the hour is running short, you understand? It's one thing to say that you're running out of time, but if you're worried about finding someone to be with, this would probably be the best time to do it. I'll concede that there are a lot of Gions on Earth, and especially Galilee, but you're definitely not a one of a kind case. I guarantee there are Gions here that are in the same boat as you, and now that the war is over, they would all be looking for others to sync up with, too. I enjoy that you're trying to see the lighter side on the issue, Ezra, yet you're not a Gian. The signs on aging are as clear to you. I'll say it another way. Would you date an Earthling that, well, she's got it going on like you do, yeah? Is that what this is? Is Esau having some sort of midlife crisis, and she's worried that she's too old for other people to want to be with her? I think other cultures call this sort of thing thinking being a Christmas cake. The thinking being nobody is going to want you after the 25th. I might have to answer this a little carefully. Esau is an adult, and I have to trust that she can think for herself, though she's really this concerned about finding the right one. After having a threesome playing with two strangers, she could cling to whatever I say, but there's also a good chance that she's just overthinking things and she's looking for excuses to connect with someone. Or, hell, maybe I'm overthinking things and she just wants someone to confide in. She clearly doesn't have any damn friends. I better give her an answer, even if it's going around the questions she asks. I can only stand here with a dumb, blank stare and slack jaw for so long. Age ain't nothing but a number. Love can be found anytime, anywhere. Humans have a pretty long lifespan, especially nowadays. Now that medicine has advanced to the level it's gotten. And one of the things that you're often told by people that have lived a long time is that it's never too late to do anything. There are stories of humans finding love for the first time well into their 70s. Some famous actors that had never once ever taken an acting class or ever considered acting had gotten into their gigs in their 50s. Well, after they thought they had their career paths chosen. If there's anything to learn from the tenacity that some of these people show, it's that it's never too late, Esol.
That's right.
That's reassuring to hear that an Earthling could exist into their 60s and 10s and only then locate their equal lets the stress go. All the equal, though, it's none the less hard to let go. The niggling sense that I need to hurry lingers. Humans get that too. It's tough, and I know it doesn't feel like there's a lot of time left, but there's time enough left. You just have to keep looking. And based on your being an extrovert, after 2 nights ago, it'll be easier to find someone than it would be if you hadn't approached me and Carlo. The solution is to continue to drink. Well, the solution is to not think you're too old. I'll consider your words, Ezra, and not just since they're what I wanted to hear. And who knows, I'll not want to lose youth as long as I always act young. Humans have a saying about that. You're only as old as you feel. Yeah, if you want a more direct answer, Esol, I saw you naked 2 nights ago. I wanted to. That should really tell you everything you need to know about your chances. You saw quite a lot in addition to just that. You know as well as I do that equals willingness or skill in the caught is ancillary to how attuned they are to you as an equal. Though I do enjoy the attitude, it thwarts the old age sensation, at least in this
Ezra,
instance.
I decided.
On what?
The talking has concluded. We will now drink. A toast.
Sure, to what?
There are at once countless things to toast to. And yet, I can't think on a single one. The war is won. Your guardians are returning. Our existences can restart 1 decade later. We don't need anything to toast to. What we need is to toast and enjoy the night with each other.
I'll toast to that. To everything at once, Esol.
Nothing at all, Ezra.
Esol said that she didn't want to toast to any one thing in particular, but I think that wasn't entirely true. After what we had talked about, I think she was just happy to get her mind off her midlife crisis for a little bit. I was kind of worried that I was encouraging a bad habit in her, but on the other hand, if there was ever a time to party, it was now, still celebrating our victory over the Wicked. We can worry about our consequences some other day. Ain't nothing but a number. Help Esau work through her issues by being a good drinking buddy for her. No, that's not the one we wanted. Um, no. Here we go. Maybe a night on the town is just what Esau was after. You know, Esau, one of the things my dad said to me was I should enjoy my night out and not worry too much about making the house presentable. Is that true? He said that this piece was something that he and Mom fought tooth and nail for this past decade and he wants me to enjoy every day of peace that we have. He also said a bunch of bull about how we're a very lucky generation, and good times like these only come every couple of generations. But I'm choosing to apply the parts that I agree with. It sounds like your dad has his concerns straight. His wording is quizzical, though I think I understand what he was really trying to say. It's not our generation that's lucky, it's that we shouldn't take this chance to enjoy our success lightly. Yeah, I think that's what he meant too, although he also said something about how his optimism is how Mom fell in love with him. It's an endearing trait, worthier an idealist than a cynicist.
Earth
That's
languages.
that's a word in your language, right? The word you wanted was cynic. Thank you. I was thinking, why don't you and I go for a night on the town? Take in the sights around subsection 4. I bet the city lights would look a little different now that we're free. Ezra, They would look unlike, because the entire city is still carousing on the third straight night. You got me there. Maybe they'll look different because we'll have each other as company.
Ah,
That's really gushy. Does it work though? You're cute, and that ate you a lot. Let's get going then. Before we do, did you learn everything that you came here to learn about human observatories? I know it feels like we only just got here. That call to your dad lasted longer than you think, clearly. The sun was still in the sky when it started. That said, you're clearly not.
Hmm.
Okay. I wonder when all of these cars are going to be moved. It's been 3 days. Well, 2 days and 3 nights, I guess. Once they care to, I would guess. I. That's the perfect answer. I have no rebuttal. What's the strategy now that we're here? I hadn't thought that far ahead, honestly. I just wanted to head downtown with you. Get in a change of scenery, you know? That's okay. Where we are isn't that essential. What's essential is that we're doing it together, even if what we're doing is nothing.
that's right.
Anyway, I would enjoy doing nothing rather than anything. There's a certain quality to shared nothingness, I think. That, and I would think we could stand to do less now that it's not required that we do extra. You know? We're not anymore. We can relax now. Well, if you see a store that you want to stop in or something, let me know. Ezra,
Hmm.
I wish this doesn't exceed any walls concerning us. Yet, can I ask you on your guardians? My parents. That's not the icebreaker I was expecting, now that we're down here. What would you like to know? It's just, you say that your dad was highly idealistic, such that was one reason it got your doyen's adoration. And you say your doyen was a soldier stationed on Earth's satellite. They just sound like interesting characters, is all. Well, my dad's name is Nathan, and my mom's name is Eden. You know that she's a soldier that's stationed on the moon. He's a software engineer that might targeting and life support systems for the battlesuits that soldiers like my mom wear into battle. You would think for a moment that turned out to be a soldier fighting for the fate of all of humanity and the survival of our planet Earth. Mom would be sort of a hard ass, especially when I was growing up, but it was the opposite, really. She wasn't much of a housewife, that's for sure. Like I told you before, Mom wasn't the cook or the cleaner. Dad did most of the housework chores, which worked out for him because, as a software engineer, he could do most of his work at home. What did your doyen do until the war started? For work, you mean? She was a surveyor. She explored wild, uninhabited areas to see if there were any good spots to build on. Anything from power plants to aerodromes like Galilee.
Hmm.
And did she study the land that Galilee was created on, or any other territories like it? No, what do I say? Galilee is older than she is. By quite a bit, yes. It would be a hell of a claim to fame, though, wouldn't it? It's quite the hurdle to study land 1 year and then enlist in war the next. Yeah, well, she's not really the type to sit around and do nothing all day. Hence a job where she was paid to wander the wilderness and find good spots for expansion. Emergencies tend to bring out parts of us that we never knew existed. I didn't think Mom was the type to enlist either, but once we heard that Earth was being attacked, she hardly hesitated.
Hey now.
Do you and your doyen still stay in touch? Yeah, every Sunday. We spoke a few days before the war was won. It's good that you stay in contact with your guardians, Ezra. I imagine it's difficult for you to do that, but with Guy being a galaxy away and all. They're dead. Oh, is that a shock? Giants don't exist as long as Earthlings do. I guess it isn't. I just wasn't expecting you to, you, you know, just say it like that.
Ah,
Yes, Earthlings treat death as a dour thing. Although I would guess that when you get into a war that lasts a decade, death as an idea is a thing that you quickly get used to. We all in Galilee understood that the Wicked could locate us at any occasion, and we were all ready in case that occurred. Do Giants treat death differently from humans? Well, yes and no.
hmm.
Gi is a dry, arid world. Water and nutrition are hard things to stay secure. Our largest cities are constructed around the world's scarce oases. When a Gian dies, we, like Earthlings, understand that it's a conclusion, an ending, at least in a sense. The realistic, although cold and ruthless, way to see it is that, in a world without constant sustenance like Yi, it's one less Gian using sources. Wow, that's not the sort of approach I was expecting from a culture like yours. Yes, that's why I said it was a cold and ruthless way to see it. We're not androids, Ezra. Religion exists on Gi like it does on Earth, and the largest religion there treats death as. I guess the closest equation is saying that we think guardian angels are real. At least that's how I can say it in your language.
Earth languages.
It's so hard to really talk with Earthlings. English words and sentences are inadequate with Gian tongues. We could try using the translator in our codices. Would that help? No. Although the technology's existed going on centuries, that doesn't suggest the tech is any good. There are nuances to the Gian tongue. Their codices aren't accurate, with 60 occurrences in 100. And I don't want to go around talking into a glass sheet all day, each day. I need to exist with Earthlings, with the choice going to either talking into a useless codex or struggling with words. I'll endure with the words. We got sidetracked. Twice by my count, we were talking about me and my parents. I'll consider what I want to say on Gian religion and how we consider death then. I'll condense.
Hmm.
Earthlings inter your dead in caskets, and then set it under, well, not all of them. Giants set our dead underground as well, although not in casings, and usually totally naked. They lie in soil, and on their site, undergrowth will rise. Trees, grass, graves, and the like. In a world where resources are scarce, this is a key strategy in sustaining those that succeed the dead. Our churchyards are considered hallowed gardens, and whole sections in our cities are dedicated to their care. That's why I said that our dead are likewise to what you would call guardian angels. Their carcasses are used to ensure the endurance in all Giants in the world. We, naturally, carry out succession likewise to an earthling wake, although that's another issue and another discussion. You're right, I do think that's sort of macabre. I would have a tough time eating, like, fruit from a tree that grew on a grave. But I've also never lived in a world where food can be difficult to come by. Culture shock is a thing in hell, right? It's a hell of a thing, yes. What was existence like as an earthling as you grew? Can I ask that? Well, you already did. But I wouldn't really know. I didn't grow up on Earth. You know more about what life on Earth is like than I do. No, your existence as an Earthling. You're asking what's it like to be human. I don't really know how to answer that. That's not the kind of question I practice asking myself, you know? Is there anything in particular you're interested in? No, just say anything. Anything that shoots to your attention when you think on your childhood, your interests, the things you did with your adored ones, your struggles at school, anything like that. Esau's kind of all over the place tonight, talking about my family, then how Gians treat death. and now she wants to know about my personal life. It's not creepy, but it's a little forward. Maybe she just wants to hear me talk. Well, when I was younger, I really liked to climb on stuff. I would be too small to sit in the adult chairs at the table, but I would climb my way up there anyway, and from there onto the table. I could climb up the interior walls of buildings by working my finger and toenails into the trimmings for grip.
What?
Goodness, that doesn't sound good on the wall's health. Never mind my nails, right? I need to concentrate on the essentials, Ezra. You know how it is. I think your doyen wasn't enthusiastic on that conduct. No, she thought I was being a little monkey, wild, untamable, and impossible to work with. Although she would probably use stronger language than that today. Do you still do that? Like, do you scale rock walls as an interest? No, I stopped doing it when I was in my teens or so. I just kind of grew out of it. Well, and I was a hefty girl in my teenage years, and it got really hard to lift myself up like I could. Time has a way of making fools of us all like that.
Ah.
I see. Would you like to try it again? Not tonight, naturally. Just one day later. Sure. I don't see why I couldn't put on one of those harnesses and go rock climbing. It's been a long time, though, so we would have to start with one of the shorter walls.
Hey now.
Are you scared? No, I'm out of practice. There's a difference, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't worry, we'll work you until we get all the rust out. All right, your turn. Tell me about what city life is like on Gi. I've never left subsection 4, let alone Galilee. Tell me how it's different. I wouldn't know all that well. I was what you would call a country girl on Gi. I resided in a rural area in the world. Even better, I don't know what life is like out of an urban setting, and with Gi being strapped for food and water, I bet every day in the Gi and boonies was a different kind of challenge. Well, come on, it's your turn already. Don't leave me out to dry. All right. I guess I can start with.
I was nostalgic towards Guy when I was told to choose a study that could enhance Earth's chances with winning the war. And that's why I chose nutrition. With the wish to one day create Guian cuisines here, since I couldn't return. Guians weren't created to eat Earth cuisine, no. They're hard to chew and harder to digest. Although, a decade later, it's not as hard as it was. At this juncture, it's less that I dislike Earth cuisine, and rather that I want Guy cuisine again. 13 years is a long era to go without what you want.
Yeah, tell me about it. With mom and dad coming home tomorrow, it's going to feel like, holy shit, it's morning, the sun is
Look
rising.
at that. So it is.
I don't think it's ever happened to me before, or I get so lost in doing something or talking with someone that I've totally lost track of time like that.
Nor I. Do you regret it?
I. Do I regret spending time with you? No, Esau, of course I don't. I would do it again tomorrow if we wanted. But I am going to regret not getting home and doing any cleaning or getting any sleep. Mom and Dad are coming home today. Dad should be getting here in a few hours, and I'll be as likely to fall asleep reading him at the
Is
door.
that a thing they're likely to get distressed on?
No, I don't think so. I don't think my dad would get mad at me if I greeted him with bags under my eyes. But I might get a little upset at myself, since, it's been a while since I last saw him. and I wasn't ready to see him home. I feel like this is all a roundabout way of me saying that I do regret spending the night with you like this.
Don't second guess your thoughts, Ezra. I know what it is you intend to say. Language is a hard thing to utilize when you're caught unready like this. I enjoyed this too. And I would enjoy doing it again with you. I would suggest a date to do this all again. Although, it looks like your schedule is taken. At least in the next little while. What with your guardians returning. And it's less enchanting when instants like these are intentional, you know?
I get it, and I agree. But that doesn't mean we can't get together and see where the night takes us again.
I like the sound on that. Until then, you own a house that needs tending to.
I sure do. Let's get walking to the tram. What do you say?
I say, I'd like that.
No regrets. Spend the whole night talking with Isol in chapter 2. Okay, so see, like it is automatically paused on this scene for a while before it fades out. So this must be like chapter 3 right now, right? Makes sense to me. I've been cleaning this place for the past 4 hours-ish. Doesn't look any different, does it? I've hardly made a dent. That'll teach me for spending all night talking with Isol. I'm so tired that I'm only moving things one at a time, and everything else I'm just justifying putting off for later. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself. I'm just one exhausted woolman, and Dad specifically told me that he wouldn't care. But I care.
Help me unload all this junk. I can unpack later. I just
Speaking of
want to be
which,
home
you
already.
look like you haven't slept a wink in days,
Stream
Ezra.
elements.
Are you alright?
Said,
I'm...
stay moist, my friends.
Well,
Hydrate.
I'll be fine. After a nap. A big one. A big 8 to 10 hour nap. I need to go to bed is what I'm saying. Don't tell me it's because of me and Eden. No, in fact, it might interest you to hear that's because of a girl. How many details do I want? Nothing happened between us if that's what you're worried about. But now, what's the point in asking? Don't be weird. But then I'm just boring. And I'd rather you be boring than... You know what? Never mind. The less we go on about this topic, the better. What you need to know is that it was a Gian lady that I met a few nights ago. We spent all last night talking about her time with Guy and her experiences living here in Galilee. I only decided to stop when I noticed that the sun was rising. Sounds like you found yourself something of a winner, Ezra. Spending all night talking with a lady you've taken a fancy to is a pretty common start to most romances, you know? And she's Gian, you said. That's very progressive of you. You don't know the half of it, and maybe you shouldn't. Is it? Gians and humans have been mingling for hundreds of years now. As if that matters. Don't be naive. You, of all people, should know that. But enough about me and my night.
Right.
You know, Dad, that Gian lady I told you about from last night specializes in nutrition. That means she's the one trying to figure out how to put all the vitamins and nutrients in that slurry I had been eating for the past decade. Yes, she was, and she hated it as much as you do. She told me that, well, to make a long, sobering story short and sweet, she wants to open a Gian restaurant here in Galilee. I've never had Gian food. I've heard good things, though. They prefer sweeter foods like fruits and have a hard time digesting earth staples like breads and other grains, which makes sense given their biology. And ghee is loaded with crunchier, tangier spices, toppings, and minerals like salt. One of my coworkers was a Guian. Did I ever tell you that? No, I don't think you ever have. He did translation work for our interfaces and instruction diagrams. There were Guian fighters in the Riglid War, too, and they needed to be able to act as soon as they got information without needing to translate it all in their head. Guy hated the toothpaste as much as I did, so he was alright in my book, although he once said that he found it much easier to eat than typical Earth food. I guess that's not such a crazy thing to say. It's paste. You just open your mouth and pour it into your face. Like a duck, or a lizard more appropriately, although most lizards are carnivorous, particularly for eggs. Do you think your Gian lady friend works well with eggs? Dad, that's a stereotype. How would you like it if a Gian asked if you like bananas because you look like a monkey? I would answer that yes, I love bananas. Most people do, don't you? I do. I'm wrong, and you're right. Don't worry, kiddo. Happens to the best of us. Besides, I doubt even the best egg chef, Ian or not, could make eggs the way Eden likes them. You've been married to her going on 30 years now. Does she even like eggs? She tells me that she does, but only her mother could prepare them the way she likes them, apparently. Speaking of which, she ought to be getting home any time now, right? Hmm.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Two. Yes. I gave the order. I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
I am a second
Right.
generation.
Well, it won't be tomorrow.
If, on the. You've always had a knack for. You're in a take. I love you, Ezra. I love you both.
Please don't. Am I alive? Direct. Thank you, Ezra.
It's a call from Esol. When was the last time I spoke with Esol? It was last night. I hung out with her last night, didn't I? Was that last night? I can't. I don't have the strength for this right now. Esol is an adult. She'll understand. But that doesn't mean I should ghost her. She doesn't deserve that. Maybe I'll just run this one out and I'll text her later. Tell her I was asleep. It's not untrue. Ezra, you should have took your while. I was getting worried that you wouldn't answer at all. Are you still socializing with your guardians? Are you getting in your exercise and nutrients? What is the tone, as the kids say?
Hey now.
Look at the state you're in. Are you okay? Or are you just socializing the week with your guardians that intensely? You're a real socialite when you're inclined. That's kinda why I called. I was thinking recently on when you and I used the night together, talking until the sun returned, and I was. Well, your earthling languages are adequate to designate the thoughts that I really had. What's the key is that I was wondering on whether you would like to hang out again. That's all. Are you okay, Ezra? I need you to talk. No, I'm not okay, Esol. I don't know why I answered you. I'm not in the mood to hang out. I'm not going out drinking tonight. I'm going to hang up and go to bed. Wait, answer one question. Are you getting in your exercise and nutrients? Good night, Isol. I'll call you again, you know? I'll block your number. I'll drag Carla into this.
Hey now.
Why are we clashing on this? What's occurred to get you in such a state? You clearly aren't talking to Carla either, otherwise her designation wouldn't grant you silence. This isn't the Ezra that talked all through the night a week ago. You can say what's got you like this, you know. I'll listen. It's not something that concerns you. It's a family matter. I did not study nutrition and earthling cuisine across 13 years, then got caught in a war that didn't concern Guy, just to hear that allies' health was not a concern. Isol, please, I just, I just want to go back to bed. Ezra, it's 6 o'clock. Twilight hasn't occurred yet. No 20-year-old is looking to hit the hay at this hour. You don't need to say what's gotten you in such a condition. You're right in that it's not where the concern should lie. I just. This isn't like you. I want to assist. What can you even do for me? All I want is to. I was about to say, all I want is to waste away in bed. Mom wouldn't want this for me. It hurts. It still hurts. But I have to make the first step. I can do the one thing I had trained to do this last decade.
That's right.
Create a kick-ass cuisine. The last thing I need in my tummy right now is something kick-ass. Although, any food at all sounds like a good time. I know just what to create. A thing that's gentle on the gut yet will turn you awake in a second. All I need is your trust. You already have that, Isol. And your address. I'll need that too. I'll text it to you, alright? I'll hold you to that. Renege, and I'll hunt you down. Coming from a race of people that look like dinosaurs, maybe I should take her seriously. I'll need 2 quarters in an hour to get the dish ready, alright? Yeah, I'll be here trying not to go to bed. It's sooner than you think, Ezra. Just hold on. I just wanted to call it an early night. That's probably her. I don't feel like answering the door. I'll just text her to come in. Hey, Isol. It took 2 quarters and an hour to create. Hell, I rock at this.
Hmm.
It took a little longer than I thought to get here, though. Yeah, it's fine. Like I said, I wasn't going anywhere. Well, it's not going to get any cooler. You should eat now. Your strength isn't going to return without a thing inside it, you know? Am I eating alone? What kind of cook doesn't create extra to enjoy on their own?
That's right.
To go with that, good eating is the crowd you're eating with just as well as the actual dish. The goal is to correct your attitude. You're not well, and I want to change that. Thanks. What is this?
Ah.
It's a salad. Lettuce was the gentlest earthling ingredient that I could think. No sugar and high essentials, just as carotene and other healthy ingredients that I can't say. Okay, yeah, I know what a salad is. What's in the salad, Sol? Earthling salad doesn't contain any staying strength, so I added in vegan ingredients.
Hmm.
The red chunks are a vegan creature called tilish, a kind of ranch stock not unlike an earthling chicken. Tilish is high in protein and niacin, though unlike a chicken, it's also high in nutrient D, like an orange or sunlight. I also added shoak slices. A shoak is like an earthling carrot, natural to ghee that's hard to grow, though they're loaded with diacetyl and allyl hexanoate. It tastes like annas and lard. Okay, I'm trying to mentally picture that. That's a little hard to picture. And Anna's in lard. I guess maybe something like Bananas Foster, where you have the butter and the banana, I guess. Shellac is easier to grow on Earth, and Galilee and is considered a candy on Geen. And Anna's and lard. Pineapple and butter. And I thought that was bananas. How'd you get pineapple from an Anna's? Okay. I was trying to create a dish that was low in sugar and high in nutrients that would grant the greatest energy quality, though the shellac was largely to enhance the taste. Esau, I had to say, don't try to lie. You're hungry as an ogre. You look like you aren't eating at all. And a larger earthling dish, like a steak, is going to sit in your gut like a sack holding rocks. Should it stay there at all? What you need is a dish loaded with nutrients, water, and electrolytes. And should your intestines weather it, lactose. I was going to say, it doesn't look very appetizing. Is that all? I was worried. I created this to grant you the greatest nutritional increase I could without surrendering taste and without hitting your gut or your senses too hard. It's not required to look like a signature dish at a 2 and 3-star restaurant. I know it's not quaint like a usual earthling salad is. I asked you to grant your trust. I will now ask you to show that I own it. This is what I had studied in. I don't have much of an appetite, but I also don't remember when the last time I had a good meal was. Sounds like my decision's been made for me. Good to know that I own your gut's trust. What do you think? Well, it tastes a whole lot better than it looks.
That's right.
The task was a success, then. Like I said, I'll eat with you. The dish tastes greater with allies. You didn't have to go through all this for me, Esau. I know I look like I'm in bad shape.
Hmm.
You are in a shoddy condition, Ezra. You don't just look it. I wasn't going to sit around and let this occur to you without doing anything to assist. Eat. We can talk once your attitude adjusts with the dish. Sure, that sounds good to me. This is a shock to you, surely, yet Gians and Earthlings are not alike. Well, yeah, obviously. You're a giant scaly lizard and I'm a hairless ape. Yeah, that's one way. Another way is that our tastes aren't quite alike either. Earthling tongues can taste sweet taste easier than Gians can, as one instance. Gians are greater at detecting salts and scents. When I was creating the salad, I was guessing on how intensely I should include the unique ingredients. Tea leash has a strong, long-lasting relish and is ready a certain way, and I was trying to dodge that. That you ate the whole thing in 16 new nights. That just says that I know earthly taste as well as I thought it did. Or I'm starving and I wasn't about to turn away a free meal. You can lie all you like. I saw the look in your eyes. You wanted a second dish. I had to hold on tightly to the one I had in case you thought to steal it. You're not far from the truth, I think. Any chance you're okay to talk on what got you in such a starry state? I excel at listening. Talking in your earth languages is hard anyway. What day is it again? It's it's the last weekday, Friday. My mom and dad were both supposed to come home on Tuesday. Only one of them did. And you had stayed as you are since you had heard it, I take it. Yeah, I didn't have the energy to do much of anything. I I'm sorry this got really difficult. I understand. There's no need to say anything in addition. Giants treat death a little distinctly with earthlings. I understand the agony and the struggles with loss. No Gian that loses their cure or their reek takes it in stride, and that includes well. Though what I understand greater than that is
Earth
it's
languages.
it's not easy setting it to words. Ezra, the existence that I own is 31 years old. I exist with luck should I endure another 30 and 10. Giants are short and endured next to Earthlings. Don't try to tell me that she lived a good life, or that I should remember her how she wanted to be remembered, or whatever the hell, okay? I've been sitting here, stewing in my own shit, for the last 3 days straight. I've had every thought you could think of about it. I don't need. I don't need someone telling me how I should think or feel. I wouldn't consider it. Sorrow is a thing that we all handle contrarily to each other. That's one thing that Earthlings and Giants are alike in. What I was going to say is that existence is short. I called you earlier today on the account that I hadn't seen or heard you since the week's start, and when I saw you, you were thin, colorless, and so low on energy that you tried to go to rest at 6 at night. I care, Ezra. I consider you an ally. I was arranged to exist on Galilee at the war's start, and in the last 13 years. You're the only non-Gian that's tried to get closer like this. Seeing you like this is hard. You said that your thoughts were on your Doyen since you got the news, which also says that no thoughts were on you this whole while. You're hurt and it's showing. I shouldn't say things like that. The last thing you need right now is guilt added to guilt. Just call when you're healthier again, okay? We can talk then. We can talk on anything you would like. Like I said, I excel at listening. I. Well, you own the contact data. I'll talk to you soon, okay? Isol, come back. Yes, I didn't tell you to leave. Look, thank you for the salad. I didn't realize how badly I needed it, and now that I have some food in my tummy, I'm feeling a little bit better. Better enough to know that the last thing I need is for you to say something and then tell me that I shouldn't feel guilt added to guilt for it. I'm not going to let you walk away after saying that. Now that the words are coming out of my mouth, I kind of sound like Mom. She would give me a meal tin of shit if I just let Isol walk away after she fed me. You said you wanted to hang out tonight. Let's hang out then. Anything to get my mind off this week. I could create another dish. We just ate something other than food and other than alcohol. In the state I'm in, I would throw up the second I smelt it.
Hmm.
There is one thing. Do you recall us going to that Star Seeker? It was nearly a week ago, I think. I think so, yeah. You asked what I would do if I could use a telescope to see anywhere in the universe, and I said I would point it in some random direction and start staring into space. Yes, I recall that. We created a race called the Ezrans, a wicked race that would attack Earth during the story on screen. I remember Attack of the Ezrans, not suitable for minors. I think we missed the red carpet premiere.
Hmm.
Do you also recall what we learned while we were there? No, I'm drawing a blank. It's that we can see the Earth through the lens starting today. Wait, I learned that before she did. I learned that. Whatever, it's not important. This chance won't last a long while. The window to see the Earth is only ajar this weekend. It'll close again and won't return until nearly a year has gone. We could go see it tonight. I would think your nurturer would like to see you, too. You kept calling Earth my nurturer back then, too. Is that okay? No. Yes, it's okay. It's just, after everything, that word hits a little differently now, I think. Sure, let's go to the observatory. Great. Getting out is great exercise, and the change in scenery will adjust your attitude. The Star Seeker is taking guests all night long. We can slow our stride until we get there, and we can slow down while we are there. Good, because I would like to shower and change my clothes first. I must smell like a sweaty locker room. Worse. How do you know what that smells like? I was inside one once. How else? I. Whatever, just wait here, alright?
Ah,
I wouldn't think on going anywhere. Is it just me, or is it really cold out tonight? Your earthling territories are cold to Gians all day, all year. Okay, but like more than usual.
hmm.
I don't think it's any colder than usual, no. That screen says that the current heat is 16 and 1 degrees. That's on the hotter side in earthling territories, I think. It's likely that you're adjusting to the world outside your quarters. It's nearly a week since you got out, and you weren't in the greatest psychological state. Your structure is trying to relearn what it's like. Whatever. Sure, let's go with all of that. Isol, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of want to go back. I'm tired. Before you called, I just wanted to go to bed. Coming here took everything else that I had out of me. My feet are heavy. I feel like I'm about to fall asleep where I'm standing. And, well, you are right in that satellites don't have a lot of staying power. I'm already getting hungry again.
Hey now.
We can return should you like. The one was to get you to exercise and to exit your residence. We did those things. It wasn't a long walk, yet, well, you're in an unhealthy way, and all the little strides are successes. No, I'm here now. I might as well see it all through. And I said I would spend time with you, Isol. I'm not about to cut that short. That, and as much as I want to go back, I know I shouldn't. My room is just one to put me back into that funk. This is regarding you, Ezra. Your health is greater criticality than us hanging out together. Still, it's a nice thing to say. You know, it's funny. Out of everyone I know and everyone I've met, you're the only person that's not only seen the Earth, and not just from pictures or videos or even through a telescope like I'm about to do, but you've actually been there. That's a funny thing for an Earthling to say to a Gian, I think. The reason I reside here in Galilee today is that I was on holiday on Earth when the Wicked attacked. There are days that I strongly regret going. Yeah, I can imagine. And yet, there are days where life here on Galilee is richer than on King. It's easy to want to return to an existence where things were resolute, certain, trite in ways. I learned a lot in Galilee in the last decade, and one thing I try to always recall is that it's greater to try and concentrate on what's to occur than it is to linger on what's occurred. Now that the Wicked are gone, existence is silky sailing going onward. Or, at least, that's the thinking. You're stronger than I think you give yourself credit for, Isol.
Hmm.
Why do you say that? I mean, it takes a certain kind of character that went from vacationing on Earth to being forced to live in a dome a billion kilometers away, unable to go home while a deadly war is going on, and say that the past is behind her and she just wants to look forward. When I learned that my mom died, I clammed up in my room for a week. I didn't even realize I was wasting away until you found me. It's true that I wasn't sad when it occurred, Ezra. I was angry, I was incensed, and there are greater words to say how I was in your language, though I think you get the idea. Gians aren't stone. It wasn't strength that I had, it was. We were just as enthused as earthlings are. We all take to dour news in our own ways. That, and it was greater than a decade ago. Stints that long can heal any wound. You learned your news a week ago. That's true. I guess I'm just hoping that it'll get easier for me like it did for you. You just need longer to heal is all. It'll get easier.
Hey now.
Let's change the discussion. We got out to try and dodge the setting in your house and all. There's one thing I had in mind. And what's that? They say that when you look at the earth from a distance, the sight of it does something to your head. I don't remember the name of whatever this effect is. Did that happen to you? Did you even get a good look at it when you were approaching? Yes, to that second one.
Ah,
We stayed in his circuit an hour until we initiated our descent. All the creatures in the shuttle got to see it through their windows. Would you describe what you saw as something that changed you, made you think differently? I think it's wrong to ask a Gian that. Earth is gorgeous, yet he is not a Gian's nurturer. Which is to say, no, I didn't undergo anything like that. I looked at his horizon, took a selfie, and then sat down and waited to land. Sorry, a what? You know, when a creature turns their codex to their own character and takes a shot. A selfie. Yes, that. I had yet to see Guy in that angle, though, out in the ether, in the cold, disconnected from his ground and air. Seeing the Reich anyway, I had yet to see it. This change that occurs in the way Earthlings think could yet occur were I to see Gi and not Earth. Gi is where I was nurtured after and all. Now that a decade has gone, this change could hit like a sack hole with stones too. Yeah, I imagine seeing your home again after everything that's happened would be a huge relief. That denotes that it's our turn, I think. I think so. I don't see anyone else in line ahead of us anymore. Would you like to do the honors? No, I think I would prefer to go second. I need a bit more time to digest myself being here, is all.
hey now.
Like I said, we can go. No, we are here. I'm not going to leave without looking through that lens. I just need a minute. Let's not keep the line behind us waiting for too much longer, okay? Well, it's just, I had already seen the Earth. You're right, though, we shouldn't take too long. The chair is nice and cozy. These lenses weren't designed with canned eye lines in thought. Any chance I could get a dongle or connector? No? Hell. Alright, I'll just. Well, whatever she's doing must be working for her. She's staring pretty intently into those lenses. I wonder if she can really see the Earth. I guess I'm about to find out. That'll do. What did you think? Did you see the Earth? Yeah, and, well, this is the second occasion I'd seen the Earth. The occurrence isn't, as intense as it was, and it wasn't that intense with the initial sight either. Although, he looks unusual, though the outlines in his lands are wrong, or at least they aren't as I recall. Does she, or he, at least look good? Concoct, in your third eye, a genial countenance that's entrenched with contusions. That's what I saw on Earth right now. A genial What? What are they teaching you kids in your English classes?
Earth languages.
You'll understand when you see it. There are others waiting their turn, you know. You should look already. Well, now you have me second guessing if I should or not. That's your call. I said I would. Excuse me. All I have to do is look through these lenses, right? Right. They'll get angry were you to touch anything to turn it. Okay, let's take a look then. This This is the Earth. I had seen the Earth a decade ago, and yes, I can authenticate that that is your pre-K, your nurture. That is Earth. Is this really Earth? I've never, I've only ever seen pictures and stuff. I've never seen her before, not with my own eyes. And this doesn't look right. The shapes of the land are all off. There aren't many clouds in the sky. I don't think I see any snow on the caps. This really is Earth. But she looks so. A genial countenance, entrenched in contusions, a smiling face covered in bruises. Mom fought for this. She died for this. She didn't even hesitate. The Ricklet came. They attacked. They turned the earth into this. And Mom fought them every step of the way, as soon as she could. Esol,
Yes, Ezra?
you're the only person I know that's been on the ground on Earth. You told me this before, that Galilee feels like Earth well enough, but that there's a thing on Earth that Galilee doesn't have. Down there, the air isn't recycled. Day and night aren't caused by someone turning a dial. The weather isn't something we control. I don't know what my question was going to be. I think I just need to talk, to try and filter out some of these thoughts I'm having.
I think I understand. As a Gian existing in an Earthling territory, it's easier to listen than to talk. So, go ahead and run your throat all you like.
Wait, I got one. Here on Galilee, I could get on a tram and ride it to the aerodrome's edge. There are parts of the dome where they'll let us get right up and touch the glass. I could pick a direction and walk, and eventually I'll hit the dome's border. Ah, dabba-dabba-dab. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. I don't know what it's like to live on a planet at all. All I've ever known is Galilee. I've never even left Section 4. But you, Isol, you've been to 2. When you were on Gi or Earth, did you ever get that feeling that if you were to pick a direction and walk, that you would be forced to stop at some point?
There is one thing that Earth and Gi own that Galilee doesn't. Well, things in the hundreds. Yet, one thing related to your question, anyway. Ezra, do you know what's larger than a hill? A gigantic hill, usually with a jagged crown that's loaded with snow?
A mountain.
Yes, that. Galilee has no giant hills, and it doesn't own great gorges either. It's largely regular and horizontal. I told you that the stint I used on Earth was in a country called Sa'ain, in a continent called Euro. Sa'ain is riddled with these giant hills. Were you not standing on one was always within eyesight. Gi has these giant hills too. In the language I talk, their word is Aloch. Standing at an Aloch's rest, you'd get the notion that scaling one on your own was ridiculous. Not without gear or training. Like Galilee's glass, they were all natural walls that thwarted your wants to journey onward. And yet, you always knew that you could. There was always new world to see were you to conquer a giant hill as you got to it. The world was only tiny were you to halt. I wish that answers your question.
I think it might. You were in there a lot longer than I was. I think I felt it. You.
What?
That thing that you said, where seeing your nurture and ether changes you. Yeah, that. Mom sent me a message after the fact. She recorded this big, long message for me and my dad about why she enlisted and what she thinks I should do with my life. It's been, 4 days since then? And ever since that day, I couldn't stop asking myself why she went through with it. Why was it her that needed to enlist? Why was it her on that suicide mission? Why did she do what she did? She said that she did it for me and Dad, and that Earth, Mars, Titan, they all came second. She told me that I would understand if I ever had kids. But you get it now. I think I do. I saw Earth and how her lands don't match up with the photos I've seen, and how beat up she looked. And I asked you those questions about what it was like to live on a planet with no borders. And it all just, it clicked. I get why she did it. I get why she would do it again if she could. Do you think you could enunciate what it is you get? No, I don't think I could. That would be like asking why a parent loves their kid. Or, in this case, why a kid would love their parent. Did you know that something like this would happen if I looked through that telescope? No, not at all. Did you think that I did? No, it's just I've been totally listless ever since Tuesday. I was starving myself, and I hadn't left my room in days. And now, after looking through that lens and seeing what I saw, it was a real kick in the ass, is all. Something that really got me going again.
Hmm.
Let's not get hasty. You still need to heal. Yeah, I know, but I feel, well, I feel better. Energized, you know. I don't feel so cold anymore. I know I still need one step at a time, but you had to fight me to get me out of that room. I'm willing to take that first step now. It's funny what a salad with some weird meat and a bit of exercise can do. That's underselling it. This is the initial instance that you had seen your nurture, and you're acting like you had changed into an entirely altered earthling. I know I can create a good salad, though let's not suggest that it's so good that it would cause your psyche to ascend like that. That's a thing that only seeing your nurture could attain. Thank you for tonight, Esol. If you hadn't come to get me, I would probably still be in my room. I still wouldn't know how hungry I was, and I wouldn't have gotten the perspective I have now. All I did was create a dish to eat and then drag you out to get exercise. Seeing your world was the real catalyst here. I won't suggest that what I did was nothing, though. We all need a kickstarter on occasion, and I'm glad it was you that gave it to me.
That's right.
The next occasion you need a kick in the rear to get you in gear, just say the word, and I'll wear the weightiest shoe I can get. It's good to know that I can trust you not to half-ass anything. You got that right. An outsider's perspective asks you some what the difference is between living in Galilee and living on Gi. I was pretty quiet when I came home from the observatory that night. I had a lot on my mind. It wasn't that late out, yeah. And so, see, this is probably what chapter are we on? Chapter 4? So, yeah, see, I'm
You're an
seeing where the
adult now, Ezra.
chapter
I love you, Ezra.
breaks are.
Yeah.
I still don't know why the auto
I love you,
skip
Ezra.
stops in certain messages, though, but. Hey, Ezra, you up? Yeah, I'm awake. What's up? I wanted to do a thing with you today. Can we meet in park? Is it serious? Kinda. I don't know. I just. Never mind. No, Esau, it's fine. I can meet you in the park today. I don't have any other plans. You sure? Yeah, it's been a couple of days since we last saw each other. I'd like to see you again. Okay, you got me. Where in the park do you want to meet? I'll send cohorts. Be there in 30. Okay, I'll see you then. I don't know how else I expected Esau to type. Weird that she would rather send coordinates than just tell me where in the park she wants to meet too. Although I guess this is easier for her fingers. Should I eat before I leave? This doesn't sound like a lunch date. I should probably eat something. Esau is a nutritionist. She'll give me that really sour frown if I showed up and told her I hadn't eaten at all. Something small, though. Knowing her, she might have packed something. According to my GPS, this is the spot. I guess I might be here a little early. I would have thought that. Ezra, there you are. I was just thinking about you.
That's right.
And I you. It's good to see you again. Yeah, I'm glad to see you too. I know it's only been a few days since we were at the observatory together, but I've had a lot on my mind, and it felt like it's been weeks. Likewise, when we exited that Star Seeker, you nearly started talking as though you were unlike Earthling, that you weren't Ezra. In a good way or in a bad way. Well, the Ezra you were was dejected, hungry, scraggly, and reeked like a sweaty shirt. You aren't so scraggly or stinky right now, so it turned out that going to the Star Seeker was the right thing to do. Well, you know, if I'm going to be a sad sack, then I don't want to drag down the rest of the world with me. Are you eating regularly? I was waiting for that question to come up, and before he texted me earlier, I had to remind myself that I was hungry. It was past noon and I hadn't eaten anything before breakfast. I didn't feel hungry. Yes, I'm technically eating regularly, but it's probably not much as you would like. Progress. That's not quite the news I was wanting to hear, yet it's greater than no thing. That's good. I ate a bit before I came over, but I sort of assumed that you were going to bring me lunch again. Try another of your key foods crossed with earth foods. Is that why you stay around? So that you can get all the unrestricted cuisine you could want. You know what they say. The fastest way to an earthling's heart is through their tummy. I didn't know that that's what they say. Is that true? I don't think so. I don't think it's wrong. There are harder ways to get a person to love you, that's for sure.
Ah.
Interesting. I did not create a cuisine today. Sorry. I was going to ask what it was you wanted to do today. I'm guessing you invited me all the way out here for a reason. It sounded important in your texts. Right. I don't know how to say this. Do you mean literally? Because I can help you if you can describe the words you want. No, I didn't say that literally. I would like to do a thing with you, Ezra. I'm assuming this isn't a booty call. It isn't, you dingus. This is serious. Sorry. It relates to your Dorian. I know the scheduling is a little early, though. The scars are still there. It's about Mom. What did you have in mind? I wanted to. Your Dorian. is a hero, Ezra. You don't need to hear that again. Yeah, so I've been told. Though, she's also a hero to the Gians. The Ricklid likely wouldn't halt with just the Earth, and Earth is... Well, Earth and Gi are allies, though they're also next door to each other, so to say.
That's right.
So the win on the Ricklid with Earth is a win with Gi as well. Your Doan isn't just an Earth hero, she's a Gian hero too. And I'd like to honor her with your consent. What? Yes, of course, Esol. You hardly need to ask.
What?
Really? Yet you're Earthlings. What difference does that make? You're my friend, Esol. You just said that Mom is your hero too, and you're offering to do something to honor her memory. I'm not really seeing a downside here. It's just... Wow, I really didn't know how this talk was going to go. I'm assuming it's not something an Earthling might consider traditional. That's right, I was going to honor her through Gian traditions. I was worried that you wanted her honor retained solely as Earthlings do. That you didn't hesitate was a real shock. In the message that Mom left for me, she said that she joined the fight against the Ricklid for me and Dad. First and foremost, Earth and Mars came second to her. So I feel like she couldn't care less about being honored as a traditional Earthling or not, as long as she got the attention she deserved. Besides, Mom was a very your friend is my friend kind of woman. I bet she would have loved you. So what did you have in mind? I'm assuming it involves the park. It does. Do you recall the discussion we had when we had the night together last Monday? Not especially. It was on death and how Gians inter their deceased. You were aghast at how we do it on Gi. You called it culture shock. We bury your dead straight into the ground so that trees and grass and stuff will grow on their site. Yes,
Right.
that's all correct. And you want to do that for Mom. Also correct. Back then, if I remember right, I said that was a macabre idea. I would have a hard time eating a fruit off a tree that grew over someone's grave site. But now, I don't know. It somehow seems like a better idea. Would you trust that I had a likewise thought? And it was only when the Keter died that I turned around, as you had. No, I would believe it. When humans die, we do a lot of weird, gross stuff to their bodies in order to keep them presentable for their funerals. Now that Mom is dead, I have a better understanding of the necessities of things like that. Now that Mom has a body to preserve. If what you want is to grow a tree over Mom, then well, Shishi's not here. What's the plan there? The contingency is that, in case there is no carcass, then the usual surrogate is a thing that denotes their existence instead. It's usually an ignition, such as a candle or lit wood. A fire. Candles and dead wood aren't great alternates to real carcasses, though. Any tree we try to grow will own a weak start. At least it will in contrast to real tree cuisine. Sorry, I know you hate needing to do this, but tree cuisine. The thing you use on yields on a ranch to cause it to grow quickly. Fertilizer. Well, I don't keep a lot of bone meal on me. Even if a tree doesn't grow, I'm sure Mom will be happy that we tried, and that we did something for her in her honor. That's the wish anyway. It's the thought that counts. Where are we doing this thing? I own all the ingredients. We can get started right now. And I think I saw a good site on the way here. I'll take you to it. Right here is a good site, I think. Yeah, this seems good. Not so far off the path that you can't see it, but far enough away that's not going to be trampled from day-to-day activity. Right, just what I was thinking too. To start, we dig a hole. Then we stick in the candle. Now here's the section that gets a little cloudy. Usually, a carcass is all that we need to continue. Since there isn't one, the thinking goes, a lit candle on its own isn't adequate to denote what the existence a single creature is worth. So instead, you light the candle using a shoot that was generated in the likewise clear tree that generated the seed. The candle denotes the current, the now, and sanguinity in the next generations. The shoot denotes the late generation, going onward, and although it's hard, seeing away with what is done, and the seed denotes the next generation and the chances it can carry. What seed are we using, by the way? Traditionally, it's a seed that the deceased had cherished, usually an akene seed or the like. I didn't know what yield your doyen cherished though, so I went with an orchard seed, a red delicious. You earthlings really enjoy your orchard at Chinese, so I thought it was a good wager. Her favorite fruit was bananas, but I'm sure she won't mind. Now we inter the lit candle, and to end it we root the seed. Doesn't mean anything if the seed doesn't sprout. What are you suggesting? Like if the seed doesn't sprout, does that mean the person it was buried on top of was evil in life or something? No. Well, not according to the religion's word. There is a credence, in short, that leads to that thinking, though. Were a tree not to grow on a Gian's lay site, then it says the Gian that had died is granting the next generations the resources they need. Gi is a desolate world. It's hard to grow greenery anywhere it doesn't already grow. Yet, that said, Gians, like Earthlings, always want to entrust that the next generation is sustained, and we all want to set our sign in the world. Even in death, there's a pressure to provide for your family need, which is why it's not a thing according to the religion's word. That anxiety is entirely its own thing.
That's right.
Lord Doyen can doze easily knowing that she doesn't need a dream to set her sign in the galaxy, though. Yeah, that's true enough. Ezra, I would like to say a thing. Sure, go ahead. Were it not clear, in the stint since we initially saw each other, it's hard to articulate what it is I really want to say. Because of our earthling languages not being easy for Gian mouths. There's that, yeah, though that's not quite what I had intended. I initially went to Earth just to stay on holiday. I was a tourist, and thanks to the Ricklet, in 2 years I would exist on Galilee longer than I did on Gi. Galilee is an Earth extension. This galaxy is Earth's, not Gi's. There are scarce Gians in Galilee at all, let alone Section 3 and 1. It's hard to talk to Earthlings, and that includes you. Not on the account that you don't try. You're a good Earthling, Ezra. A good ally. You're not Gian. There are less than 1,000 Gians in Galilee's entirety. Galilee is larger than countless Earth countries. I can't imagine how lonely that must be. Heightening the issue is age. I was hatched 31 years ago. Existence is already 1/3 ended. Gians don't exist as long as Earthlings do. The goal in our ages isn't that great, though you still own your youth. I don't. I don't care about that, Isol. I do, though. Nearly 32 years, and here I talk to and hang around and lay with Earthlings that are going to exist longer than I will. Are you trying to say that you want to stop hanging around each other?
What?
I would want nothing less. This is where the whole hard to articulate what it is I want to say thing shows through. Ezra, we exist in an Earthling extension, in an Earthling galaxy. Gi and Earth are allies, though that doesn't change that Gians are aliens in your territories. You though, Ezra, going on the night we saw each other, you do anything you can to cause that loneliness to scatter. When we were at the Star Seeker earlier in the week, you said that, rather than look to the Earth, you would rather look in a worthless direction. just in case you can see a thing that no one has seen until then. Worthless might be a strong word. It was a lesser thing, yet it's a long while until then that I had really enjoyed connecting with anyone at all. The jokes, the nonsense, the silliness. I wasn't treated like a Gian, like an alien. I was treated like an ally, and I liked it. And then, later that night, when you learned that your VK and your VK was returning, you decided to get the night out rather than return to your house to get ready. And that was the night we talked about Gian burial traditions, and you asked what my childhood was like, and we talked until the sun rose. That was a unique night, Ezra, one that stuck. We did a lot that day, and I'll cherish it all.
It wasn't until you and I started using our hours together that I started to not think that I was an outcast. As an alien during a war with aliens, I was generally lucky when I was treated with ignorance. It got ugly during the worst instances. I always sensed that I was only tolerated, and that nearly all Earthlings didn't consent to a Gian in their class society. All that notwithstanding, that Gians existed on Earth too, and they couldn't dodge the Ricklid either. I was lucky. And then, here you are. An Earthling that indulged in Gian culture, an Earthling that wanted their hours to go with a Gian, an Earthling that could cause a Gian to not just think she was wanted, that she could think that she was young again.
A soul?
Ezra,
Stream elements.
raising a tree requires
Said.
exertion.
Stay
It's
moist,
not
my
an easy
friends.
task.
Hydrate.
It is our duty to this seed and to your Doyen and her legacy that we return each day to ensure that it is watered and that no one has carelessly crushed it and so on. So, you and I, that is to say, it's our duty that we return.
Esol, would you like to come back to this park with me tomorrow?
Yes, I would.
Perfect. What else do you have planned for today?
Not a thing.
Also perfect. Do you want to go do nothing together?
Do nothing together? I think I'd rather do anything together.
Sure, we could do that instead. That sounds good to me. A Gian hero to complete Esol's path. Very nice. I can't. Gians don't use death signs like Earthlings do. We create tiles to set into the dead street to know who lies where. I guess it's the largest death sign here. Though, that doesn't sound like a thing your Doyen would want, does it? It wasn't our idea. A lot of things about where Mom is resting wasn't our idea. But you can't be one of the Fantastic Four without getting a little sensational, I guess. That's one way to say it. A year later, and society still won't allow you to rest. Yeah, it's great. And the rest of this is probably the same with her interjecting this every now and then, just like it was with the other two.